WrestleLogic, and we're talking wrestling because that's what we do. Raw and SmackDown for this week. Both pretty good shows, but first off, that crowd, though. Oh my gosh, that was one of the craziest crowds I think I've seen
They were into it.
It was just to hit both nights. So Montreal, thank you so much for making it that much more entertaining to watch wrestling this week. So it's pints up or down. How it works is whenever we talk about a bit that we liked, we go pints up, we take a drink. When we don't like it, we leave the pints down, we add it up, and we see who comes out on top this week. Is it Raw or is it SmackDown? Because that's what we do right here at WrestleLogic.
Last week, we couldn't add very well, could we?
No, we couldn't add very well.
Must have been all the alcohol we've had.
Little too much beer, so indeed. But once again, Chris, the real deal, Mr. Sex Appeal Steel. I'm Paul, and we're here to make sure that you stay logical about your wrestling. But onwards and upwards.
Here we go.
It's Raw and SmackDown. So Raw this week, once again, Montreal, you were crazy. I would love to go to a live show in Montreal sometime just because it was bonkers, absolutely bonkers. But Roman comes out. I have not heard him booed that loud in a long time.
Yeah.
And it put a smile on my face, I'm not going to lie.
You know, I think what would really help out his success is if they just let him go heel and do what he does, and then eventually he'd be like The Rock was, which is you play your role so well that people hate you at first, and all of a sudden you play it so good, and they're like, oh, actually, this is good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Cena, too. You know, he did the Thugonomics, and then people booed him at first, and then all of a sudden they loved him.
Yeah.
Now look where he's at.
Yep. So, I mean, quick sidebar, Corey's hair poofier than all get out. That was crazy. That was
mentioned
crazy.
it, too.
He even did. I got to tip my hat to him. He actually brought it up, so that was kind of funny. But, this whole, I mean, obviously, it boils down to that there was obviously a botch at the end of the cage match. I mean, obviously something didn't go right because I don't think they would throw in all this stuff with the referee making the wrong call and all this stuff if it had gone exactly how it was supposed to. I have a feeling that something went wrong and Brock was supposed to get both feet down first, and whether it was just because he was stuck under Roman, he couldn't do it, or the way I looked at it was I don't think Roman was supposed to fly out like that. I think he was supposed to get hung up on a rope, something along that lines, and it was what it was.
You know, my first thoughts of it was this. They both landed on the cage. Nobody hit the floor yet, as far as I was concerned. Nobody had hit the floor. They were both on the chain link, and that was it.
But then Roman rolled off, and both of his feet went down. So, you know.
But when they called the match, is what I'm talking about. They called the match, and they said, Brock hit first. Technically, nobody had hit first because they were both laying on the chain link fence, and they had already called the match. Confusing, maybe a botch, but it was a badass ending, I would say, spearing someone through the cage. They're really trying to build them up.
It looked awesome.
I know.
It looked amazing.
Whether it was supposed to happen or not, who knows?
Yeah, it could have been another thing like the Hell in the Cell where Mick Foley went through, and it wasn't supposed to go that way.
But we remember that now.
Touche. But I don't know, you know, he came out, did the whole thing like I'm the real Universal Champ. It should have been me. The ref even admitted it, and you know, which me is just whining. So this to me was totally going to a pints down. But then Joe comes on and just rips him apart, and then Sammy comes out, and what a frickin' pop!
Yep.
Well, actually, I'm sorry, Jinder came out first. Lots more boos. So you got two guys in the ring that are both getting booed. So I'm just like, oh, where is this going to go? So that's why I was really excited when Sammy and Kevin both came out and were just totally cheered like there was no other. But then it just got almost confusing to me because then all of a sudden Bobby Lashley's coming out, then Braun Strowman's coming out.
Yep.
It was like Raw All-Stars. Let's just show off all of our biggest names, which I guess is not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't know. It got a little confusing for me. But I was entertained because of the crowd. The crowd kept me going in this whole thing.
And I'm entertained by this too, but I am confused as to what they're doing, and maybe, you know, something's going to come of it eventually, because then they did that 6-man tag match on Raw there, and that was pretty cool to see. I'm sure the crowd loved it, but the storyline, where are they going? I don't know yet. I don't understand that.
I'm going to keep my pint down until we actually get to the match, since this is all technically one big thing. So anyway, 6-man tag set up. But then Elias.
Finally wrestling.
Yes. Elias out, Bobby Roode. And I mean, it was kind of a rinse and repeat because they wrestled the week before. And, I mean, the ending kind of was a botch because it was really obvious that he did not hit his throat on the turnbuckle.
But it sounded bad.
It did. I mean, he sold it really well. It was like the sell when Shane got powerbombed on that metal grating in the back. And, like, I legit thought Shane was hurt. Like, I'm like, oh, God, they actually really screwed him up, which I think he's just a good actor, as was Bobby Roode. So I think it showed off that Bobby Roode can act really well. Still a little wonky in where this is going. Like, I mean, is it just because they're two guys who like to be the spotlight, you know? Or are we going to get, like, the only thing I thought of, and actually my wife actually kind of brought up to me, is maybe we're working to a double turn. Because Elias is so over right now, and I just think Bobby Roode would be a better heel because he thrived as a heel in NXT, and I think he needs to go back that route because I think he's really plateaued. I don't think he can do much else.
Right, and I think a heel turn would be good for him as well. I mean, I really watched that video back on the highlights on Facebook, I think 5 times to see if he actually hit his throat. At first, I was like, I don't think he did, but how do you make that sound? That turnbuckle is not forgiving. I know personally, you can't make that noise without hitting it pretty hard. And if he comes up, you know, right up here on his neck, I mean, he's gonna be hurting pretty good. And he sold it pretty well. After you watched it back a couple times, it was obvious where he hit. But as a performer, and knowing how hard that is, and that's a tough one. I'm gonna drink to it because of that one spot there, and he sold it pretty well too.
He did.
He really, I mean, he may look like he was really hurt, but the sound was the one thing that. Oh man, I was like, is that real? But if you watch it just one time on TV, you won't know any different because it was so quick. Yeah. So I'm gonna drink into that. You're gonna drink to that?
I'm drinking to it too.
All right then.
Yeah, I love both those guys. Just because I'm confused does not mean I was not entertained. So up next, Authors of Pain come out and absolutely decimate another local tag team. But the only reason I'm going to drink to this, if it had just been any other like just squash team, I don't think I would have drank to it. But I love that they intertwined the local aspect to it. So you know that you had the crazy French Canadian tag team coming out. Like it almost reminded me. Remember the Quebecers? Back in the 90s.
I don't know.
They were two like Mounties.
Oh, those guys.
I love it. Reminded me of them, and I had a lot of nostalgia from that tag team because as a kid, they were like the worst thing since like they were terrible. You hated them because they were I hate to say it, but you know, sorry. I mean, you're not that far, but I don't know. It was like anything that was not American in the 90s, you hated it. Even if it was just Canadian. Like you just hated it. Even when Bret Hart and the whole crew it went heel and everyone hated them just because they were Canadian. So I just thought it was really good. I thought it was done well. It was funny. And, you know, they had that whole little bit backstage and they were speaking in French and
I saw that.
So for me, it made me smile, so I'm drinking to it.
I'm drinking to it because I watched that finish where they slammed them up against each other back to back, but it was until afterwards they power bombed them and you could hear that was not exactly the most graceful power bomb. They slammed them pretty good. That looked like a lot of pain for those guys, so I'm going to drink to that because that was a devastating finish right there.
Up next, probably the biggest, well, I don't know. I guess the Kevin Sammy pops are pretty big, but I mean, as far as longevity, this crowd for Seth Rollins was insane. I mean, he literally just had to stop and like let them do their thing, and but I mean, you know, at the same time, he should have just sucked it all in. I mean, it was a great ladder match, and I think he's going to be a really great IC champ. I think he should hold it for a while, to be honest. But gosh, what a pop! It was awesome. And then Finn comes out, and Finn, my guy, too sweet. I don't know. I love the dynamic here. Once again, can't drink to it because it's building to a match. But this whole bit to me was really good. And then the Miz Taraj comes out and they want to do the 4 Horsemen, and it was like, oh guys, whoa now. That was gutsy. I was like, that was really gutsy. The only thing that would have made it better is if like Ric Flair came out or something. It was like, no, like, you know, or something like that.
I love those T-shirts. They should put those into production. Here's the best part about that, though. They told the story. Okay, so obviously Seth, Finn, not going to be part of their 4 Horsemen, but 4 Horsemen. But
that was good.
Then when Seth's not looking, Finn hits him with his with one of his moves there, and that was awesome because nobody knows who to boo. Nobody knows. They both cheer for both of them, but you can't really cheer for both of them because they're both so damn good. I don't know. So it was cool to see that. And there was right after it happened, I heard a little bit of boo. But then it was gone real quick. It wasn't like boo, it wasn't like a Roman Reigns boo.
I felt like it was more of an ooh. Yeah. Like it almost felt more like, oh my gosh, we weren't expecting
Bo's
that.
coming later was awesome.
Yeah,
that was good.
So keeping it down because it's building to something later on down the line. Up next, Riot Squad backstage, or the Riot Squad comes out. Sasha backstage asked, "Oh, where's Bayley?" And she's basically like, "I don't care," which. I've said it the last, 4 weeks in a row? Someone turn heel. Please. Let's just do this. I'm
sick of it.
I'm sick of that side of it. But the match itself, I am definitely drinking to because I have to say that I really believe that Ruby Riott is championship run material. Yeah. Because that match itself between Sasha and Ruby was fantastic. Ruby can throw down. She's a really good in-ring worker.
Yep, that was a great match. Yep, from a performance standpoint, but I'm still kind of bored on the storyline, so I'm going to keep my cup down to this one. It's all you.
Really, you're not drinking for the work?
No,
I would think you as a worker would drink for the work.
Like I said, I'm a storyline whore.
Traitor.
Yep.
Moment of bliss again. I'm sorry, I'm gonna drink to Alexa. You can't because you have a crush on her and you can't admit it yet. So. Another moment of bliss, though. Thought it was funny, the whole Disneyland thing and like teasing her that she's too short to get on the rides. I love this feud. I love the feud between the two. I mean, it's very obvious that if it came down to sheer brute strength, there's no way Alexa Bliss could ever beat Nia, but they still build it like there's a chance. And that part of it I love. So I'm drinking to the moment of bliss again, just for the story progression.
Yeah, and I'm going to too, now that they're making this an ongoing thing for the storyline. I'm going to drink to it now because I'm kind of understanding where they're going with it. I'm kind of seeing it. So I'm going to drink to it with you, man.
All right.
Yeah, I'm thirsty too.
Up next, Titus just totally sucking in and sucking it up that, with the whole fall. Because, I mean, it's very obvious that it was not on purpose. Some people were trying to think that. You could not do that on purpose. It was so perfect how he just was gone.
Yep.
And so I love that he's just taking it in stride and just saying, whatever, I might as well use it to my benefit.
He better be thankful there's nothing underneath the ring for him to break his damn neck.
Or if that had been the LED screen instead of what they sometimes have. Oh my gosh.
We had a broken screen.
It would have been a different story, but no, I like that they're doing it this way. How Baron Corbin and No Way Jose are fitting into this, I'm not 100% sure. But
I don't know, but I'm going to drink to it because of the fact that Titus is using his screw up, which is, it is what it is. He tripped. Every performer's not perfect. It happens, but now they're using it to his advantage. He's taking advantage of it. Yeah, it was really comedic, but it's still, if you can at least use some fault to your advantage, do it. Laugh at yourself.
I'd agree. I'm doing pints up to that. Up next, we had the little story time with Matt and Bray. I don't know if I'm just easily entertained, but I love the dynamic here. I love the dark and the light. I love that Matt's the light, Bray's the dark. I think the other thing that really sells me on this too is how into the broken universe Corey Graves is. Like he's like more into it than most of the fans are. I think that helps it because there's so many fans that probably still are wondering what the heck is going on, that never knew about the whole Impact thing with the broken universe.
Especially some of the kids.
Exactly, so I think it helps that there's someone on the commentating team that's like a total advocate for it and pushing it. So I don't know. I love the little thing at the end where they're both laughing and then they just do the run. I don't know what it is about that, but when they do that, I'm just like, yeah! It just gets me pumped up. It gets me pumped up, and I like where it's going.
I'm keeping my point down to this one just because the gimmick is just too gimmicky, I guess it would be. Too 90s where it's like Doink the Clown, as I said in the past. You love it. So a lot of people probably do love it just because of who they are. I like Matt Hardy by himself, personally, but you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to let Paul drink by himself on this one.
Mm-hmm. Admit it, though, you have never been more entertained in the last year by Bray Wyatt.
Probably right.
Okay.
I've never been entertained by him.
So then we had it, the 6-man match, which it's so funny too because it threw me off guard because it feels like that would have been the main event. So when they were coming out, I was just like, I'm like looking at the clock and I'm like, wait, this is going to be a really long match, but it was not the main event. So that I was obviously corrected once. Even my wife was like, honey, it's not the main event. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was with you on that too. I was like, oh, main event. No, wait. This can't be it. I mean, look at the time on the clock. But it had a main event feel to it, that's for sure. Had all the stars to it. Yeah, big. Yeah,
I mean, my note says right there, main event level. And you know what the funny thing is the match itself, like when I looked online on Tuesday, it was getting a lot of heat. Like a lot of people weren't that into it. And I once again, I don't know if I'm just easily entertained, but I loved it. I loved the storytelling. And I thought the fact that a lot of these guys had never had anything against each other before, it made it feel like they had. Like the heat that the heels were getting. Well, then you had the whole dynamic that you have two guys that people are okay with. You had Bobby and Braun, but then everyone hated Roman. And then on the other side, you had Kevin and Sammy that people were okay with because they were in Canada in their hometown. And even though Jinder is also Canadian, they hated him. So it's like you had this weird juxtaposition that there was someone on each team that people didn't like, but then the other two they were okay with.
But do you remember the end of the match when KO super kicked Braun into the corner? You hear that pop that he got?
Oh my gosh.
Kevin got a huge pop, and he was about to go do his cannonball, and then all of a sudden, I've never seen agility from a guy that size. I mean, granted, he pulled himself up by the ropes, but still, that's a lot of man pulling himself up from the ropes. Grabs him by the throat, puts him on his shoulder, and KO's not a small guy by any means. Does his finish to him, and that was it. It had a great finish to it, and like you said, they told the story. The story was there. People were all for this match. It had a big-time feel. Although I'm confused about the storyline, and so are you, I'm still drinking this match because of how awesome it was. Had a great finish. So I'm drinking that.
I said at the end, another note I put down there, I said it was a finisher buffet. Because it was like someone would do a finisher and then they'd get cut off by someone else doing it. And I loved how that just kept going. And because it was just like, what next? Oh, what next?
It's like the old school attitude, end of the match era.
Drinking. Pints up. All right, so Baron now is going to have a match with No Way Jose because apparently they're in a feud together. But ironically, it worked. I mean, they work well together in the ring, I guess. Maybe that's why they were just like, oh, we'll just make this work. And they kind of did, actually. And but the one thing that I noticed, you might want to get some royalties because Corey even said, oh, Baron Corbin is the real deal in the ring. Yeah. He
stole that from me and every other indie wrestler out there. All right, I'm coming after you.
But I don't know, it was okay. But what sold it for me was the slip on the ropes from Titus, the big distraction. And it was a cheap roll-up win for No Way Jose. But I don't know, like I feel like No Way Jose is going to join Titus Worldwide because it just seemed like they celebrated. I mean, granted, it's the No Way Jose celebration at the end. But I don't know. It was entertaining. It made me smile watching Titus fall down again. Made me laugh.
And I'm not gonna drink to it. Sorry. I mean, yes, the Titus thing is funny. The match was predictable. I almost texted you on Monday night to tell you that it's gonna be No Way Jose is gonna get some sort of little special win. I wish I would have, because then you could have at least admitted to me that I know what the hell I'm talking about. Because a lot of these things.
I've never said that I didn't think you knew what you were talking about.
Well, at least then there'd be you'd have some proof that I do, right? All right. So I'm not gonna drink to it. Although I do like No Way Jose's style in the ring. He moves quite well. Baron Corbin, on the other hand, I don't care much for his character. Not that he's not a good in-ring performer. Character just kind of And it's the same with No Way Jose, but he's got some like movements to him. When he dances, like you can just tell he's athletic, he can move, and I like the way he moves in the ring, but I don't want to drink to this just because I'm not interested in the story at all.
See, now I'm hung up because I'm agreeing with you that it's a dead story. There's no substance to it. But gosh, like I always say, if it entertains me and makes me smile, that I should drink to it.
Then you drink to it, Paul.
But I'm torn though because part of me is like saying, but I don't want to encourage this, whatever this is, to keep going because it's like they need to pull the trigger on something here. to make it. I mean, maybe down the road it'll turn into something, but right now it just feels like let's just throw these all together and see what happens. So.
I don't know,
All
man.
right, Chris, I'm not going to drink.
Well, he knows what happens if he does drink, and I don't agree with it.
I'm keeping my pint down. You're right. You were right. It's just it's a hodgepodge mess.
Yep.
But it made me laugh.
Maybe something else will come of it. He'll join Fandango and Breezango or where the hell they are.
All right, next match. You're not going to like me for this one.
That's okay.
Because I'm not drinking to this next one.
All right. Well, I put you in a headlock at the end of every
That is true.
segment. So
Mickey and Natalia, and here's why I'm not drinking to this. Because when they first announced this match at the beginning of the night, I was stoked. I'm like, this is going to be a great match. Two great female performers, both very good in the ring. And it got to be less than 3 minutes, and it turned. And granted, I understand that they needed a good live appearance from Ronda Rousey.
Right, yep.
But I feel that it cheapened Mickey and Natalia, because I thought that could have been huge. It could have been a great match between the two of them, and then it just turned into Ronda chasing Alexa.
Right, and you know what? Now that you say that, you've actually turned me around into thinking I don't want to drink to this either, because you're right. It did take away from a good match, which would be Natalia and Mickey James. And yes, you're trying to get Ronda out there, and that's great because obviously she's going to sell some tickets for you. But also Natalia and Mickey James, that'd be a good match to watch even for 10 minutes, you know? So yeah. I'm not going to drink to this either just because I wish that would have happened. Although I I still like the storyline with this women's division. Even on SmackDown, I like theirs. And I'm not much into women's division matches at all. And most people know that I say this is the time to go to the bathroom. Not anymore for me. Nope. I am kind of, yeah.
So okay. So quick small breakdown from my perspective of it. The storyline building was good, but I feel like they should not have sacrificed the match for building a storyline that's on the side.
I think they should have done that after the match is over.
Yes,
yep.
Exactly. That's why I think we should have allowed the match to happen. Then yes, there was some shenanigans or something, yep. but it caused an after the match hoopla.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I'm not going to drink to it because I don't think they should have sacrificed the match for it. It was Drew and Dolph and their little backstage video. I don't really drink to video montages, but I gotta say they are keeping me interested. They've got a finesse, and I think that's the thing to me is that I haven't seen Dolph really work and pair well with someone in a very long time, and their dynamics together work really well.
You know, the last time I remember him really pairing was with AJ. Was
AJ Lee? Yeah.
Was it the last time he had anybody really in his corner with him?
Yeah, because there was a while. Well, he had AJ, and then Big E was with him for a while. They had that little trifecta when he won the championship, when he won the heavyweight title.
That was cool, but I'm a Dolph guy by himself. He doesn't need anybody. They're trying to build up Drew McIntyre, I feel.
I would agree with that, but at the same time, you know, they use Dolph for so long as an in-ring way to push people.
Yeah.
Maybe having his charisma is going to be a really good way to help push Drew as well.
But I want Dolph winning. He hasn't had his due yet.
But he won last week.
I'm saying a championship.
I would agree. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Everyone would agree.
Well, okay, all right. Quick sidebar then.
Right.
How would you feel seeing him and Drew with tag straps?
No, I still like.
You want him
I like Dolph
bigger.
all by himself.
Okay, all right.
Dolph doesn't need anybody. People need Dolph. It's really the way it goes.
You're probably right. Well, once again, that's why I think they paired Drew with him because they knew that it was going to help pull him up, and I think eventually there's going to be a breakdown and they're going to part. But I think what's going to happen is it's going to help pull Drew up, and in the meantime, keep Dolph relevant. Because I think that was the worst part is there was no relevance to Dolph for so long.
You know
Nobody
who's not
cared.
giving Dolph relevance? The WWE. That's who's not giving him relevance. He is basically pulling off what Chris Jericho did for Kevin Owens.
I was thirsty, by the way. I had to.
But he's basically doing what Chris Jericho does for people because Jericho's on his way out the door. Dolph is still in his prime, I feel.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
This is a man.
Video. I'm not going to drink to this, but if there'd been a match, I would because I'm always going to drink to Dolph Ziggler. Sorry, I'm always going to drink to Dolph Ziggler, but it's going to be interesting to see where this goes.
Yep, I can't wait to see where it goes, and I so hope that he breaks off. But that's just me. That's just me.
I hope they ride it for a while, but I think it's going to lose its shimmer very fast. So I don't think it's going to be to the point where they're going to have a tag match and end up with the straps. I think it's just going to be they kind of
build them up. I think
they're more of a faction right now, if anything else, more than they are a tag team. But anyway,
no drinking for me.
No, I'm not drinking either because it's just a video montage. Even though I would.
But here we come.
Oh my gosh. I can.
This is cool.
And I'm jumping out on a limb before we even get into it. I am saying this match was probably my favorite match on Raw in the last, I would say, almost a year. Yeah, that's how much I loved this match. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and the entire time that this match was going on, it was the same thing with the Mickey and Natalya match. I was just fingers crossed. Please don't let the Miz Taraj come out and screw this up.
Right.
I thought that they might go there with what happened before. WWE, thank you for not doing that, because this match was so good. I mean, so many cheers, so many "this is awesome" chant. I think there was 3. This is, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I feel like there was like 3 "this is awesome" chants during that match alone.
Yeah, and 2 spots that really got me on that one as a performer was the one where Seth goes up, superplexes off the top ropes, picks him back up, but then Finn reverses it.
Into
awesome spot.
So good.
The one thing, though, I wish people would work on is making that curb stomp look better. So far, the last few times that people have gotten the curb stomp done to them, they haven't sold it that well. And if you remember, Randy Orton was pretty damn good at it.
Yeah, well, now, behind the scenes stuff, because of the damage it has caused in the past, they're playing it safe with the curb stomp. That's why they're doing it this way.
It's an awesome finish. It's an awesome finish.
If you saw when they first brought it back, if you watch that video, Finn took it really hard. Like, people were worried that he had a concussion.
Right.
So I think they're just playing it safe right now, because it is a move that, if done incorrectly, could really screw a guy up.
Oh, absolutely.
So
the one thing that I find that would be the hardest is the person taking it has to feel that foot on the back in order to kind of lift up and then slam down. It's not so much Seth Rollins giving him the move. It's more so the guy lifting up and taking the move is what it comes down to make it look really good. Wasn't that great on Monday, but I still love that move that he got it back. That's awesome.
Yep.
Better than the damn pedigree. That was stupid.
Yeah.
That's just Triple H's move.
Well, then there was the knee for a while. That was just kinda, I mean, the knee itself is a good signature move, but it's not a finisher. So I'm with you. I'm glad that they brought it back, and now I still don't think they've decided on the name on it, because they were calling it the Blackout for a while. Then they were
still a good name, I think.
Well, yeah, it's not a bad one. And then they were calling it the Stomp for a while. And I think, actually, if I remember, I don't remember if it was last week or when it was, but someone did slip up on commentary and say curb stomp. And I know that was the whole reason that they got rid of it in the first place, was because Vince didn't like that being said on WWE TV during the PG era. But either which way, mega pints up on this one.
Mega pint.
Such a good match. All right, so Raw, 7 pints up. You know, it was the same as last week. I felt it was a much stronger show than last week, but there just wasn't as many spots.
It was longer. It was each spot was longer, I think.
So, I mean, we didn't have a whole lot that we didn't drink to.
No,
but,
not really at all.
So, but once again, into SmackDown now. Remember, they get three drinks because they're an hour shorter, so...
Ching, ching, ching.
So they get their 3, and we'll get right into it. Miz TV kicking things off, which is never a bad thing, because the Miz is gold. He just is. He's awesome. So, awesome, no pun intended, just was awesome. So Jeff Hardy comes out, and of course, then Randy Orton comes out. Now, I'm liking, to me, the 2 biggest feuds on both brands now are between 2 faces.
Right, and you know, the biggest feuds to me are the 2 semi-big belts. You got the Intercontinental on Raw, and then you got the U.S. title on SmackDown. To me, those ones are keeping me more invested than the actual Universal title. And, you know, it's just, there's more there. They have more story. They're giving him more time, it seems like. But when you have Brock Lesnar coming in at part-time, how much story can you tell each week? Not much, because he doesn't ever wrestle hardly.
Yeah.
So really, to me, the U.S. title, Intercontinental title, those are really holding the show together. I'm invested. It hasn't been like that for me since 98, 99 when you had, with Stone Cold and The Rock were going after it. I mean, that to me seems like, holy cow, that was a main event type match.
Well, wasn't that, who was it that threw the IC title into the river?
Stone Cold.
Yeah. That made that like one of the, ironically, when they make it look like it's trash, made it one of the most relevant belts on the card at the time, which that was really kind of cool.
I know.
So, but then and just remembering some of those feuds. I mean, I remember like when Mr. Perfect made that belt so relevant. The Ultimate Warrior held it, for so long.
Yeah,
so
it's been prestigious, and they're finally bringing it back.
Yeah, IC title and U.S. title right now, to me, those pictures are just on Raw. I think the Intercontinental title is a leaps above the Universal title. I think the U.S. title is a hair above on SmackDown, because I still think there's a pretty good story going on with the world title. But I think the fact that you have 4 really big names, you have The Miz, you have Jeff Hardy, you have Randy Orton, and then out comes Shelton Benjamin, another great worker in the ring. I think he deserves a good push. So the 4 of these guys together put into this program. Once again, even though we usually don't drink until we get to the match that's involved, I think I got to drink to Miz TV and give it its own drink, personally.
Yeah, and I would too, because I'm invested in the storyline.
Yep.
I mean, it's plain and simple.
Yep, and Jeff, by the way, love all the color. Every week he comes out.
And Miz's outfit was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. That was his WrestleMania one, wasn't it? I think
it was either that or it was close too, but he's really playing his gimmick, and I love it.
Oh, gosh.
Keep it up.
So then the Iconics backstage, they're good. They're good. They are really good heels. I mean, they're like, I even turned to my wife and I said, it's the frickin' Mean Girls of WWE. It is. It's like Regina George and her little, they are. They're the Mean Girls, and they play it so well. And then the whole thing with they're just heat magnets right now. And then with Carmella, it was fun. I'm not going to drink to that because it was just a backstage thing building up to the match, but it was good. I think they're doing well with the Iconics. I think that they're already very much for just coming up from NXT. I think they're doing better than Absolution and the Riot Squad did out of the gate. I just think that they've got better. It's a better gimmick for them. I think it gets more heat than what the others were getting.
Yeah, I'm still going to keep my pint down to it because I'm waiting to see what happens next. I'm still waiting for that next thing.
Okay.
What's going to happen?
All right.
I'm interested. So
all right.
Take your drink there, Paulie.
No, I'm.
Oh, you're not?
No, I said I'm leaving it down because this is building to a match. So we'll go.
I've had one too many pints.
He already has. Bar backstage, and when I've heard that the Bar was coming over to SmackDown, the first thing I said is their first feud better be with the New Day. Because the way I said it right out of the gate, I said with the comedic side of the New Day and that dry humor of the Bar, it's going to be a perfect combination for a great feud. And sure enough, they're walking backstage, and when I said, "Oh, look who it is," in my head I'm going, "Please be New Day, please be New Day, please be New Day," and sure enough, it was the New Day. So I'm really excited to see what happens here. Once again, this is building to a match, so I'm going to keep my pint down for now before we get to that match. But I'm thinking that this is the perfect thing for the Bar right now,
and we'll find out.
Yep, I think they needed this. So another backstage segment, Rusev. This was the roughest one for the night for me because although I was excited to see Lana back with Rusev, I don't like the fact that they're hinting at breaking up the band and breaking up Rusev Day because she's basically trying to. And I mean, she didn't flat out say it, so I think Rusev is doing the playing dumb thing right now. But we obviously get that she's hinting that Aiden is what is holding him back, and I know it'll probably turn into something good in the long run, but it makes me sad because we all knew it was going to come to this eventually.
I'm interested in this because of that fact that Lana's now back. Not only is she good looking, but now we're not sure. This is almost like The Bold and the Beautiful. What's going to happen next? Is Aiden English gone, or is Lana going to be gone? I mean, Lana's his wife, but Aiden's his buddy. What happens, we don't know yet, but I'm interested in this. So I'm going to drink to this because I'm interested in the storyline. To me personally, Paul, I know you love Rusev, but I thought his his storyline was kind of getting a little flat. Now all of a sudden,
right.
here we go. We got Lana back in here, and what's going to happen next? We don't know. I'm drinking to this, absolutely. Are you drinking with me?
I'm drinking to it, too.
Are you sure?
I am, and I'm drinking to it for the same reason that you are, because this is progressing Rusev forward, which is what he needs right now. So I'm willing to drink to it.
Now, if worse comes to worse, I can get you a Kleenex if they break up.
Now, okay, well, here's another reason why I just drank to this. Because with any heel pairing, they always break up. They always do.
I know.
They always do. So we knew it was going to happen, and I think this is a good twist on it, where it's the wife is going to be the wedge.
What happens if he gets rid of his wife?
Either which way, it's good storytelling.
I know.
Either which way, it's good
I
storytelling.
want to see that one go.
Right? Next, Big Cass comes out making fun of Daniel Bryan, and then calls him out, and then a small person, we'll stay politically correct here on WrestleLogic.
Oh, will we?
A small person comes out and dressed as Daniel Bryan and plays it up, and then of course just clocks him with a big boot. But
You know what, Paul? He smacked the midget. The midget was gone. That's what happened. Just say it like it is.
he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Although I'm not gonna lie, I had my hopes up that maybe that was Hornswoggle back for one more foray
I thought so, too.
But then I was like, no, he got in the ring. I'm like, no, that's not Swoggle. So
Are we able to drink to this? Because I'm going to drink to it because it's so damn funny.
Too. I'm drinking to it because once again, Cass didn't have a whole lot of momentum going before he got injured because he lost Enzo, and I think Enzo was. Sorry, Cass, but he was carrying you when you guys were a tag team.
Yeah.
He was carrying you. And I think these are the kind of bits that are going to take you to the next level and give you the heat that you need to be a really good heel. So I will drink
he was
to
a
it too.
huge dick on the mic.
Oh, absolutely. And a few other YouTubers were giving him grief and saying that they don't think he's good on the mic. I don't know what they're talking about because I think, especially once again, he's coming from being stuck behind Enzo.
That's tough. Enzo was a great mic talker. I mean, he was
he's
awesome.
one of the best. One of the best.
That's tough to come off of, and maybe that's where people are having the problem with.
AJ out, and ironically, he comes out not because he wants an apology, but because Shinsuke wants an apology. So
Maybe he should have got him a nut cup. Well, there could be the nut cup on a pole match, which I think would be great TV.
WWE. I think you got a new creative guy for your team right here.
Right.
That's something. But
Must-see TV.
So right. So of course he doesn't come out, but who comes out? Joe, which intrigued me because I always thought that they would have a really good feud together. But obviously we need to get past Backlash before that can happen. But I think this is a good seed to plant because I think this will be the next feud. It will be AJ and Joe, and I think that'll be really good down the road. But then of course. Shinsuke's music hits, and what happens again? Oh, another low blow, which I'm getting a little sick of, but what it boils down to is are we drinking or not to this? I am going to drink to this because I really feel that this is planting seeds for beyond Backlash, which Raw did none of. So I think this is, to me, is story building.
Yep, and I'll go with you on that one, story building. I love story building. Perfect.
All right.
Next up, what do we got? Ooh, yeah.
Becky and Asuka backstage with Charlotte. I love the little bit of the storytelling here too, where Becky is still distraught and feels bad that she lost the week before, causing another loss for Asuka. And Asuka's like, "Don't worry about it. It's behind us." So that was kind of cool because it kind of like built their relationship. And I still think this is building towards a women's tag division. And I feel like they're pushing it a little stronger on SmackDown because you got the Iconics here. Yep. You'd have Asuka, Becky, which I think actually they work really well together. And then they had, but that was, I mean, it was once again, I'm leaving the pint down because the match has not happened yet. It's the 6-woman tag, so that's why I'm leaving it down again.
Yep, leave it down for me too.
But it was good. It was good. I mean, it helped progress what's coming up for later on. Xavier and Sheamus was actually a pretty good match. I wouldn't say it was like a show stealer by any means, but they worked well together. Xavier got the win, which of course like devastated Sheamus, and I love watching Sheamus and Cesaro lose because they are the best at losing because they legitimately look like devastated when they lose. Like
Yeah.
they're really good at it. Like almost John Cena level. Like when he was sitting in the corner, what one was that? Which match was it where he was like sitting in the corner after it was over? It was that Fatal 5-Way. It was, or where it turned into the Fatal 6-Way where Dolph was in it and everything like that. I don't remember which pay-per-view that was at. I'm going to put a little thing that's going to pop up in text right here. It's right here, right now, saying which pay-per-view that I missed.
WrestleMania when he lost to The Rock on that first one. I mean,
and he was sitting up on the ramp. Like, that to me is the level of how well Cesaro and Sheamus lose.
Yeah.
Like, you just like, you know they're heels, you feel bad for them.
Right. And I'm not going to drink to this, and here's why I'm not, because I'm interested to see the storyline beyond what this match was. But Xavier Woods is a good worker. Let him work. He does a good job. The pancakes inside the jacket, cheesy. It is what it is. Though we get progressive storyline because they're playing up to the New Day's gimmick. So you got to play to it. But I want to see what happens after this. So I'm going to keep my pint down. Drink alone, Paul. Drink alone.
I'll drink alone.
There's no shame in drinking alone.
I'm drinking it. All right, up next. Not going to drink to this, but I liked what I saw. Paige and her Absolution friends, and of course her Absolution friends are like, oh, you're going to help us out, right? And basically Paige is like, nope.
I'm GM.
Yep, she's basically like, nope, I'm GM. And then she was kind of like, oh, Absolution, that's dead.
Uh-oh.
I was just like, dang, Paige. Woo!
And that's
But it was good. It was good. And this was one of the things I was a little nervous about because I was like, okay, so is Absolution now going to get a push by default because she's the GM? So this, I think WWE realized they had to do something with this quickly.
Right, yep.
And I think I like the way they did it. They basically squashed it out and said, no, like that's not how this is going to go. Yeah. So once again, not drinking to it, but
don't need to. It'll further something else.
Andrade video, once again, I hate these. I hate the coming soons. I would rather they just don't do these and then surprise us when they do show up. So,
I won't even let you drink to this.
No, I'm not gonna. Once again, I am so excited for him to get here because he is a great performer. Once again, he's done 5-star matches, and he's gonna bring a lot to the table. But don't tease us. I don't. It's like a spoiler.
You don't.
Just don't do it. You know, I was fine that you told us that he's coming, but then leave it be. Just leave it be, because then we forget about it a little bit. So then when he finally does debut, exactly,
right.
It's that much bigger. So WWE, you gotta stop with these. Just leave them alone and let us be that much more excited when they finally come out.
Exactly. Move on, Paul.
Yep. Main event, 6-woman tag match. Great dynamics, great storytelling throughout the entire match. I thought everyone worked really well together. The Iconics work well together. They're a great tag team. The heel work was perfect, I thought, in this. And of course, obviously, it was a very big way to build to Carmella and Charlotte at Backlash. I thought it was done well. I thought the match was good. And once again, the big final moments where it was like finish after. So it was kind of like the 6-man tag from Raw. So it was kind of a copy and paste with the women, but it was different enough that I'm going to drink to it because I think they did a good job, and it got me that much more excited for that match at Backlash.
Yep, and I'm going to do that too just because I'm interested in to see that Charlotte versus Carmella. I'm interested in that, and just like I'm interested in what's happening in Raw's women division. Normally, like I said, I would go to the bathroom at these, but I'm not going to the bathroom anymore on these ones. I'm kind of interested. Now I'll go to the bathroom on a coming soon video. All right, so I'm going to drink to that one.
Yep. So that was Raw, and that was SmackDown again this week, and SmackDown coming out on top again by a half point as they did last week, although we didn't say it because we're bad at math.
Hey, we're bad at math, but we're logical in wrestling.
Yes, we are. That's what it's about. It doesn't mean, exactly. So SmackDown coming out on top again. I think we need to come up with like a belt or something. So SmackDown's got the belt. For this week again.
We'll figure out something.
Retaining their title. So we'll see what they can do it again next week. We'll probably give a quick next week a little review on what we thought of Backlash as well. But that being said, SmackDown comes out on top. That was another edition of Pints Up or Down for Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown, congrats, coming out on top. We will be back again next week with another Pints Up or Down to see if SmackDown can retain its title for 3 weeks in a row. Until next time, though, Chris the Real Deal, Mr. Sex Appeal Steel, and Paul with WrestleLogic. And don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, share the video, so we can get more people logical about wrestling. We'll see you next week.